Good to see you. We had a wonderful service last night, and we saw some great things happen. And that's always a privilege to be in the presence of God. And I want to welcome my son and my daughter-in-law and their boys. It's an honor to be able to speak with them here. And they surprised us this morning. And actually, I got kind of nervous. I don't know why. But anyway, I prepare for two services when I come to Houston to speak, and one was last night, and then today's, and so I'm asking and praying what do I teach. I felt like the Lord laid the word pain on my heart. And I didn't like that at first, okay? Because it's just a word that I think we all avoid. And so I just started dwelling, meditating, thinking about it. And that's what I'm going to teach on today. And it's a subject that we can all relate to in one way or another. I feel like we all have our own measure of pain. We all deal with it differently, every human being. The pain that I carry, none of you know what that is. But in the same token, the pain you carry, none of us know what that is. Only you experience your pain. And we think we can relate to each other, but I don't think we do as much as we think we do, if that makes sense. We do have empathy. Empathy is important. Helps us to relate to each other as human beings. But pain is pain. And pain hurts. And so I've been asked many times why has God allowed this to happen here on this earth? And we just went through a presidential election. We've had a president for 4 years. That's what we do in this country. And we have an election. And if that president wins, he gets to serve another 4 years. If that president loses, then he goes out and another one comes in. And so that's exactly what happened in the Garden of Eden. God had given the presidency to Adam and Eve. The earth was theirs. There was no pain, there was no sickness, there was no sorrow. It was a perfect place. It was heaven on earth. Well, they lost the election, okay, right off the bat. And so another force took over. And that force brought in sickness and disease, sorrow, hatred. And that force is still ruling today. But just like the president that just lost, he actually can come back and run for 4 more years. Well, guess what? We have a king that's coming back, and he will rule this earth, and he will bring back peace, and he will bring back comfort. But in the meantime, we have a mindset. Let me read to you that the mistake we as Christians make when it comes to pain is we believe there should be none. I wish that were true, but it's not. In Revelation chapter 21, verse 4, it says, "And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. And there shall be no more death, no sorrow, no crying, neither shall there be any more pain. For the former things are passed away." Now, that is out of the book of the Revelations, and that's what is coming, but that is not what exists right now. And so God has given us here on this earth. You know, if there is nothing but pain and sorrow here on this earth, then what do? Do we live a life of pain and sorrow? No, God actually has given us the right to have heaven here on this earth. And think about the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. See, in heaven there is no pain, there is no sorrow, there is no sickness, there is no death, there is no disease. They call down from heaven what exists in heaven here on this earth. And that's why we as believers pray for someone to be healed. That's why we believe that sorrow can be wiped away. We believe that we can experience some heaven here on this earth. And the prayers do work. I've seen it. You've experienced it. Heaven does come to earth and set people free. Heaven comes to earth and casts demons out. Heaven comes to earth and breaks the power of depression. Heaven comes to earth. And he said in our Lord's Prayer, call it down. Bring it here. And we do. And it works. And that's why I do what I do. Because it does work. He also said, let's see, that in the meantime, that we have to learn to deal with pain in a healthy way. Scott Peck wrote, who was a psychologist, a well-known psychologist in our lifetime, he said, he wrote the book, The Road Less Traveled. He said the only reason mental hospitals are full is people do not want the world to be the way it is. The only reason that mental hospitals are full is because people don't want the world to be the way it is. And I've seen this. My field is counseling now. Do you know Superman lives in a mental hospital? Moses lives in the mental hospital. Jesus is in the mental hospital. Frozen, whatever her name was. I love that movie. What was her name? Elsa. Huh? Elsa is in the mental hospital. Well, how did Elsa get in the mental hospital? One day, something so painful happened to Elsa that she didn't want it. She didn't want that pain. And so she went delusional. And by going delusional, she was able to erase all the pain. And you can go in, you can talk to people who have checked out. Now, hopefully none of us in here have gone that far, okay? But we've gone close. How do we go close? Well, we use the word denial. Say denial. Denial. Denial is a very, very powerful painkiller. Anybody know what denial is? It's denying. In AA, the number one thing you have to do, number one, what? My name is Earl. I am an alcoholic. Number one. Why is that so important? You have to come out of denial. You have to come out of how powerful is denial? Wow. Let's say I have a gambling problem, and the family's saying, you got a gambling problem. But I'm not listening, because I don't see a problem. I'm feeding my addiction. Why am I feeding my addiction? What is an addiction? It's a painkiller. That's all it is. I have people come into my office all the time. What is their addictions? I'm a sexaholic. I'm an alcoholic. I'm a gambleaholic. I'm a thisaholic. I'm a TVaholic. I'm a foodaholic. I'm a aholic, no matter what it is. They're all the same. Every one of them do the same thing. Every one of them. They numb our pain. And so what I do for an occupation is, instead of trying to get somebody to quit drinking 2 cases of beer a day, I go to the pain. Doesn't that make sense? If you take the pain away, then you don't need the 2 cases of beer. You take the pain away, then you don't need to go to Louisiana and gamble. See, we got it all backwards. We're trying to quit this, and we're trying to quit our painkillers instead of dealing with the pain. I'm going to tell a story today I don't think I've ever told in my life. I might have given just brief parts of it. And the story is about pain. I was 22 years old, and I was a meat cutter. I was actually a market manager for Safeway, and meat department. I was a butcher. And I became manager, very young age. And I got very bored real quick. And my father-in-law at that time was a crop duster. And so I had access to airplanes. And so while I was cutting meat, I would go and I'd take flying lessons and learn how to fly. And so I got my private pilot's license. Well, while I was getting bored with meat cutting, I thought, you know what? I want to be a crop duster. And so I talked to him about it. He said, you get your commercial license and we'll talk. Well, I started working on my commercial license, and that wasn't easy, but I got it. And so we talked. And he decided to put me in a crop duster just to learn. And so I started flying it around for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And then it came time to go to work for the first time. Say rookie.
Rookie.
I was a what?
Rookie.
I was a rookie. And a rookie is someone who doesn't know what they're doing. All right? At least this rookie was. But I was willing to try, I was willing to learn, I was willing to do everything I could. And so as a rookie, I went out there and started working, and we worked actually south of here on rice fields. There's a lot of rice south of here. And so we spray rice, plant rice, fertilize rice, and I was doing pretty good, you know. It was not so much scary, it was more just hold on, you know. Just hold on. Crawl up in an airplane, it's full of fuel, it's full of fertilizer, and you're taking off on short runways, and just hold on and do the best you can. And then you've got to spread it all evenly, okay, or the farmer, he's going to fire you. And so it was very challenging. I loved it because it was so challenging. It took a lot of mental strength to be a crop duster. And one particular morning, I went out to go to work, and a plane flies different when the temperature changes. It's actually harder to fly when it's warm. And that particular morning, it was warm. It warmed up real early. And I just want to draw this so I want to give you an idea of what I was experiencing, okay? There was these high lines right here. And so here's the high lines running here, and these are those big ones, big tall ones. And there was trees, runway was right here, okay? And right here, there was an opening, and then there was trees. Well, the experienced pilots, they could take off and go through that opening. But I was scared. I just wasn't quite ready for that. It just didn't look like that airplane would fit through there. Does that make sense? And so what I would do is I would take off, and the field that we were fertilizing that day was over here. So the wind, because of the wind, we had to take off this way. They would shoot under it, gain their momentum, turn way out there, and then come back and fertilize the field. Well, I couldn't go under it, so I had to take off, gain momentum to get over this high line. Then I had to gain momentum to come back and go way out there and come back around. Does that make sense? So I took off, and it just didn't feel right. And I realized how much the heat was affecting the airplane. Now, when I was training as a pilot, they told me to never go straight in. You know what straight in means? Straight in. Never go straight in. Avoid that at all costs. Straight in's not good. I've seen an airplane go straight into the ground and explode. Literally, a ball of flames, and kill the pilot. I had a friend of mine. He was learning the same time I was. And his airplane caught, literally, there's a guy wire up here on the top of these high lines, and no electricity runs through it, it's just a guy wire. And his tail wheel caught the guy wire, and the guy wire never broke until something broke on the airplane, and he just went straight into the ground. The airplane exploded. Now, he actually lived because he hit the ground so hard that his seat and himself, you're strapped in there with 4 straps, and just he went through the windshield, miraculously lived, miraculously. And so I knew not to go straight in. If you're going to go in the ground, you want to slide, right? Like running for first base. Well, I got out here and something didn't feel right, and I felt like I was just losing altitude. And remember, we got an airplane, the wings are full of aviation fuel, both wings. The front of the airplane is full of a ton of fertilizer. And so you're fighting lift, you're fighting gravity, and it is delicate. Well, I got turned back around, and I was headed for the high lines, and I thought, I don't think I'm going to clear that. I don't think I'm going to clear that. And all of a sudden I realized if I don't clear that, I'm going to burn to death, because I'm going to go straight into those high lines. And so here I am headed for those high lines, and I had to make a decision, and I said no. And so I turned. And the minute I turned, I lost all lift. Every bit of lift. And that plane went straight down. It's the day I died. I never share this because I don't know how. When I was going down, it was like a hologram. Just a huge hologram. And there was my wife. And she was looking at me. And I was looking at her. It was so peaceful. Then I saw my son. There he was. We just looked at each other. It's like we knew. It's like we both knew. This was it. And then my little son, same thing. It was as real as you sitting here. It was like eternity. It wasn't click, click, click. It was like, I met with him. I met with him. I met with her. And then my father-in-law came up. And then my mother-in-law. And then my mom, my dad. I don't remember hitting the ground. And it just so happened, the ground that I went into was a watered rice field. It was full of water. And so the airplane didn't explode. Matter of fact, I heard there was about a 4-foot hole there. I don't remember the impact. I don't remember nothing but darkness. But the peace is, listen, there's nothing to be afraid of in death. Nothing. And when the airplane hit, it hit like this, and then it fell over backwards. And so I was upside down. But I was strapped in, but I didn't know that. I didn't know the airplane hit and fell, because wherever I was at was not there, if that makes sense. When I opened my eyes, there was green everywhere, just beautiful green. And I remember the thought, I didn't know heaven was green. I really thought that. I didn't know heaven was green. But what it was, I had hit the ground, fallen upside down. My helmet didn't go into the water; it went into the rice. And so, no matter where I looked, I was seeing green rice. But I thought it was heaven. Now, up until this moment, I'm a little confused because where am I? What am I doing? Because all of a sudden things started registering. And I heard crackling. And then oh my God, I'm in an airplane. And then this excruciating pain hit me. I knew what the crackling meant. That's the engine of the airplane. I smelled the gasoline. I got to get out of here. So I broke the seatbelt off me. I fell to the ground, and I was trying to crawl. And I was grabbing rice because I couldn't walk. My legs didn't work. And there happened to be a farmer. By that time, he ran out there and he grabbed me and he dragged me away from the airplane because he kept screaming. He's screaming at me, "Get away, it's going to blow up, get away, it's going to blow up." I'm trying. But he was in shock. He was freaking out. And but he finally ran over there and grabbed me and dragged me out. Life Flight came out, picked me up. And they put me on a stretcher and just strapped me in there real tight, wouldn't let me move. Put thing on my neck and helicopter. I went to Herman Hospital, and it was like, man, all these people just came and just started working on me. And then I was left. It was the weirdest thing. I was left all alone on this stainless steel bed. There was no sheet or anything. They all left. It was bizarre. They left. I'm not crying, but I'm on the verge of passing out because I'm in so much pain. Right here. And I said, I started hollering. I said, "Help! Somebody help!" Because they flipped the light off. It was dark. I thought, I felt like I was in a morgue. Well, then they all came back in, and they went, "Yay!" And they just started clapping. And I thought, what? It was just, what is this? Because I'm in pain. They said, "Earl, you're not paralyzed." I thought I was paralyzed. All you did is crush 2 vertebrae. Yay! I'll never forget them clapping and excited. They had all gone into the x-ray room to see the x-rays to see if I'd severed my spinal cord. And then I told them, I said, "Get me out of this pain." And they brought a needle in. It was about that long. And I don't know if they still use morphine, but morphine is awesome. Okay? That lady stuck that thing in my butt, and tell you what, it hurt. But oh my God, did it take the pain away. It felt so good. It felt so good to take that pain away. I was in a body cast for over 8 months. If you've ever been a body cast during the middle of summer in this area, it's not very comfortable. It was miserable. It was painful. But before they put the cast on, I think I was in hospital for 2 weeks. They'd come in there and give me that morphine shot. And it got to the point where the morphine shot was hurting worse than the pain. And so I would try to put the morphine shot off as long as I could because that hurt so bad. And finally, I said something to the nurse one day. I said, "Man, those shots hurt so bad." And she said, "Well, why don't you take pills?" I said, can I do that? And she says, yes, but you keep asking for a shot. Duh. I wanted to slap her. I said, well, bring me pills. So anyway, they put me on pills, and that was a relief. I got to get high legally. And then they put the cast on, and that hurt. But what the cast did, it gave me support. I had support. It was like, nice. But it still hurt. Wore that for 8 months. Went to the doctor. They took a cast saw, interesting little thing. They just, take it off. And I'll never forget, they put this metal brace on me. I had to wear it for a year. Put a metal brace on me, and the doctor, I'm sitting down, and the doctor's over here, and he's saying, Earl, will you stand up and walk around? So I stood up and walked around. He watched me, and I sat back down. He said, now, you're going to be in this much pain the rest of your life. There's nothing we can do about it because of what you did. You just should be glad that you're not paraplegic. And I said, what? He said, you're going to be in pain. You're going to be in this much pain the rest of your life. And I'm sitting there looking at this doctor, and I'm thinking, no, I will not. No, I will not. Mm-mm. I will not live in this much pain the rest of my life. I left there, got to go home. Well, I was in the body cast, I was already home, but I got to go home with the metal brace on. I was so excited about the metal brace because I had so much more movement. I went down to the junior college and I signed up for a racquetball class. Yes, I did. Because I said, no, I'm not. And I started playing racquetball, and I started working out. Because I was not going to live in that much pain. There's no way. Today, we live on a farm. I throw hay bales around. I throw feed around. I build fence. For my age, that's pretty good. For what happened. But I was not going to let pain control my life. I could very easily be an alcoholic today, very easily. My dad was. He taught me how to handle pain. I could very easily been a drug addict. Very easily. Is that the only pain I've had in my life? Some of you know the pain of a divorce, the pain of a breakup, the pain of a loss. Went back to my father-in-law and said, hey, I want to keep flying. He said, you sure? I said, yeah. He said, well, you're not very good at it. I said, I know. And I went back, and man, you talk about a mental job. You know, don't have time to share them. But I went back to work. I got in that airplane. And I'm still a rookie. One day farmer asked me if I'd spray his garden, after I got through the field, and I said, sure. So I was down the back of his house and to put some fertilizer on his garden. No, it was spray it for bugs. And so I had to get real low, so I went real low, and bam! I hit a guy wire off a telephone pole. And the guy wire literally split about this far deep into the wing. And there was about 40 feet of guy wire on top of the wing and about 2 foot on the bottom of the wing. So I'm carrying guy wire in the air. All right, and So it's pulling the airplane this way, and I'm flying back, and I thought, okay, to land this thing, I'm going to have to kick this thing to the left, and because the wire is going to pull me back to the right. And I thought, this is not going to be pretty, okay? Because if it pulls me too far, we're just going to roll. So I'm bringing this guy wire back in, and there happens to be a pipeline crew right next to the runway where I'm about to land. And so they see the airplane coming, so they all stop just to watch the air. And then all of a sudden I see them pointing, look, there's a guy wire. And so they're fixing to watch this thing. We didn't have iPhones, but that back then, but they would have all been videoing this, because I'm thinking, this is going to be a mess. So I kicked the airplane way far this way, and then right before I landed, boom, and or whatever way, and sure enough, that guy wire caught, and it just pulled me. But I had kicked it enough the other way to, compensate. And I taxied up to the hangar, and here comes the ground crew, and oh my God, what'd you do? What'd you tear up this time? Because I was always tearing something up. I was a rookie. In the middle of that second year, I went to work one morning, and I crawled in my airplane, and I did something different. Up until that point, it had been a struggle. But that particular morning, I got in that airplane, and instead of strapping myself into the airplane, I strapped the airplane onto me. I'm going to say that again. Instead of me strapping myself into the mercy of the airplane, I strapped that airplane on me. And from that day forward, that airplane did everything I said. Every move. I could take that airplane and literally turn that thing upside down in a second. It went where I went. It went where I said. There was no more guessing. There was no more thinking. There was no more fear. To go through this little hole right here, no big. Why? Because I strapped the airplane onto me. It's going to do what I want it to do. It's going to go where I want it to go. It's no more shakiness. It was a day that changed my life, and I flew for 6 more years. Was I in pain? Was I in pain? Yes. As a counselor, people that come in, and what do they bring in? Their pain. Every client I have comes in, and why? Why do they come in? Because of their pain. I don't know what to do with my pain. Get rid of my pain. I don't know why I've had a life of pain. I could go on for another hour and tell you some stories, and I don't know why. But I know one thing. I understand pain. And when somebody tells me they're hurting, I don't take it lightly at all. At all. No, I can't feel their pain, but I can feel my pain or relate to my pain. If we take God just as an analogy for a second here, He's our airplane. We try to serve Him and try to serve Him and try to serve Him, and we're just rookies, and we try to serve Him, and we crash, and we tear this up, and we make a mistake here, and we make a mistake there, and we just don't do good sometimes as Christians. But what I've learned, one day, you'll strap Him on. One day, it won't be you riding with Him with no confidence. One day you'll strap Him on, and you'll go, here we go. Wherever I go, the Lord is with me. Whatever I touch, the Lord touches. He goes where I go. And the confidence level changes. You're no more at the mercy of Him trying to work in your life. He is connected to you. Now, the one thing that can stop that from happening is pain. Getting hurt by the church. Getting hurt by this Christian. Getting hurt by a man. Getting hurt by a woman. Yes, that can stop you. Many of people have stopped. They stopped literally flying with God because they got hurt. I don't want nothing to do with that. Well, I just want to encourage you this morning. Because I can stand here and say, it's worth it. It's worth it. I've been there. I'm here. No matter what it takes. It's worth it. Because there's a grace in it. There's a morphine, a spiritual morphine that God gives you that allows you to keep going. Now, I am looking forward to that place I visited that day in that rice field where there is perfect peace, where there is no pain, there is no sorrow, where I see my family. And that place is right around the corner, but it's a beautiful place. Let's bow our heads. Father, I pray for your hurting people. I pray for your hurting people. Lord, give them the strength to not give up. Give them the strength to fight the battles that they're fighting. Give them the strength, Father. Let them know that you are there with them, that you are strapped to them. And that you haven't left them. That when they went down, you went down with them. When they fly, you fly with them. Give them what they need this morning, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen and amen. God bless you.